We're going to bring in Kyle Welch now. He's an associate professor of accountancy at the George Washington University there in D.C. Sir, thank you for joining us this morning, Mr. Welch.
Happy to be here.
I got to ask you first, are we sure about the legality of this, about the president just deciding to do this on his own? Because a lot of people are bringing that up. And before we get into the details of it, we need to make sure it's actually going to stand up and happen.
Well, so I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to claim to be one, but the president is over the Treasury. And part of one of the stats that your prior reporter mentioned that I don't think most people answering the question understood was that the largest asset on the United States balance sheet is student debt. And I didn't realize this. I went to accounting programs and studied accounting my whole life. And I didn't realize this till 5 years ago when my students did a project at the Treasury, and I found this out. And for me, finding out that the largest asset on the United States balance sheet is student loans was terrifying. And it's terrifying that it's not brought up and talked about. But yeah, he's over the Treasury, and it makes sense that he has some insight into this. I don't know about the legality of canceling it, but canceling 10% of the largest asset, $10,000 of the largest asset category for a lot of people is a big deal. This is not a small action.
Yeah, so let's talk more about that then. Since you're not a lawyer, let's talk about the accounting. The fact that this is the largest problem, or at least the largest category on the government's balance sheet, and now they're going to knock off, I don't know, $330 billion of what they're owed. Are there some really negative implications then for the American economy, or is this something that, with the size of our GDP and us being the largest economy in the world, that we can absorb?
Well, so very clearly, anybody that's being authentic on this knows what it does to inflation. This is not good for inflation. It's an expansion of capital. Everybody knows this. Nobody that's being authentic can actually say with a straight face that this doesn't hurt inflation. And I want to be clear. This action helps me, helps my family, helps my school, my employer, and is absolutely horrible for the rest of humanity. It is. And the reason why is because universities need more competition. They need to be competing more and being competitive for students so that more people have the opportunity to signal their knowledge. We don't have that competition nearly as strong as it needs to be. And like in any good market, what you need is disgruntled customers or disgruntled, people with defective products to be able to go back to their source and get that change. And this perpetuates the existing protocol so that change doesn't happen nearly as fast.
Well, don't people keep going to colleges like George Washington, which has a pretty high tuition, or don't they keep raising tuition rather because people are going, they're going to pay it. And so, it's whatever the market will bear. And even with this loan situation, people are showing that they're willing to bear the cost, or at least willing to try to pay it off at some point future down the line in their lives.
Yeah. So no. So actually, I'm going to, let me be clear. I don't have a personal incentive to say what I'm saying, but I'm telling you the truth. GW benefits from this. I benefit from this. But the reality is that this is really not good for changing the status quo and changing how education is delivered. Education is free, basically. You want to learn, you have more knowledge in your phone from YouTube than you do from any university on the planet. What people are paying for is this right here. It's this degree. There's a little piece of paper that says you know something. And the reality is that there's been tons of innovations over the last several decades, ways to deliver content, knowledge, and signal learning. And the reality is that cost could be brought way down, and there hasn't been enough competition to make that happen. And so it hasn't happened. So, and the other thing I'd point out is that we emphasize need for education. I absolutely agree with that. But at a certain point, these credential signals are very valuable at the start of your career. And then after that, your experience is much more important. And so they're super important young in your career and career transitions and things like that. But eventually, what you do and the grit you have in your career ends up being the thing that stands out the most.
But what does an affordable college plan look like? It's not just like every college president's going to go, you know what, we could make less money. Let's start doing that. How does it actually work that they could bring down the cost of tuition and also have a sustainable model where you still get paid for the knowledge that you've accrued as you teach it to other young people?
So there's people that know how the system works and people that think they know how the system works, and the system's a little complex. There's people that compete in this market and they say, what is the most we can charge to our customers? And then there's other people that compete in this market and they look 20, 30 years out and they say, what can we do to make sure that we are on top of this mountain in 30, 40 years? And what we need are universities that think about that latter question and think about how can we educate more people for a more affordable rate. You look at one of the best universities in our nation with huge endowment, their enrollment hasn't expanded because they haven't had an incentive to do it. They want to restrict access and basically not increase the supply of what they are. And there's plenty of academic research that's looked into this and shown that the competitive forces are just not there. And so there's ways of signaling your value and knowledge that have emerged in this and will continue to emerge, and eventually will put a lot of universities out of business. You look at computer science, for example. Some of the best people that are good at programming and great at computer science didn't get a degree, and they signaled it through alternative mechanisms outside of universities. And that's going to happen more and more different credentials. You look at the CFA credential. The CFA credential started out as, not very valuable, and over the last several decades, it's become more and more valuable and supplanted master's degree programs. And
now,
it's
tell us what a CFA is.
Chartered financial analyst. People used to go back to school to want to signal their knowledge in finance. And so they'd go get a master's program. They go get an MBA. And the CFA emerged as something that only cost about $8,000. You take 3 tests over 3 years, and it signaled that you knew a body of knowledge. And the best part is it was open to anybody meeting certain requirements. It was much more affordable, and it decimated the cost, just totally shrunk the cost of going into the market and signaling that you knew this information. More things like that are going to emerge, and universities are going to eventually have to deal with it. This action of paying off student debt pushes that out further and kind of almost makes universities more looked at like a monarchy of some sort, like that we want to treasure and hold them regardless of what they
That's right. The federal government is willing to forgive $10,000 worth of debt so you can keep going to these universities because clearly they're important. That's the signal we're sending, huh?
Yeah, we need to change the universities. We need to update the universities. We need to make this knowledge more available.
All right, that is Kyle Welch. I'm sorry, sir, we've got to go. He's an associate professor of accountancy at the George Washington University, and we thank you for coming on early morning today. Now, here's a look at a few more stories that are